Welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. I'm Rita, and today I wanted to share with you how you can take our loveliest layers, decorative masks, and use them to create your own DSP. So before we get started with that, just quickly, I wanted to share that you can head over to ritaspapermotif.com. There you'll find the opportunity to sign up for my weekly newsletter. You also can shop for any of the items that we're using today, unless I tell you otherwise. You can find those in my online store, and also tutorials that are offered for different projects that I wanted to share with you. So you definitely can take advantage of that website, and then also I would appreciate you subscribing to my channel, and then of course any of those like buttons or hearts are obviously very welcome and help the channel to grow. So today I wanted to show you these masks. We call them masks in our store. They're most commonly called stencils. And stencils are so great for creating all kinds of things. You could take this a 4-step stencil and you could create a lovely flower with different depths of color. Normally in our flowers that grow in our garden, you'll see darker parts and lighter parts, sometimes even darker colors or even lighter colors that are different colors. But this stencils help you to get that depth of color where it is normally seen in nature. And then of course you would have other layers that would help you with leaves as well. So this is part of that package of the loveliest layers decorative masks. But there is one other part that I wanted to share with you today, and that is this 6x6 stencil that is just perfect for creating your own designer series paper. It just offers so many opportunities to tie your colors together, to embellish your card, to give a little bit of whimsy and texture and design to your card. So today I wanted to share with you how I use this stencil. So let's go ahead and begin. Now the very first thing I do is I get an old piece of cardboard, and I'm going to use one that I have used before, so it's a little bit, has a little bit of ink on it. I'm sure you won't mind. But what I wanted to do is I'll take a piece of basic white cardstock. Now you can use any color of cardstock you want. If you wanted to do tone on tone, or I know that the kind of the craft color of cardstock is very popular now. We have the crumb cake that is super popular. But for today, I'm going to use white, basic white. Now this piece of basic white cardstock measures 4 by 5 1/4, and I chose that measurement because I know that some things can happen, or maybe, you know, I don't need as big of a piece, or maybe I just am going to decide once I get this layer how I'm going to use it. So I want to give myself options. So if it's bigger than you really need, cutting it down to size is not a problem, right? But if you start with a small piece and you need bigger, then your options are kind of limited. So that's why we're starting with that size. I'm going to take my mask and I'm thinking about how I'm laying it on my card white stock. I am thinking that I want the stripes or the holes in the mask to start as close to the edge as I can. And so I'm just going to lay that stencil down just like that, and I'm going to secure it. And you saw that I did already secure the cardstock, and that is because you don't want that moving around when you're blending the ink on your cardstock, you want it to stay in place, or you could have a smear, I would say. So I am using a low-tack painter's tape. I have a lot of that on hand, and that's why I'm using it, hoping to use it up. You could also use any tape that you can pull up and that is going to be kind of friendly to the thing that you're taping it on. So then the next thing is to decide what colors do I want to use? What color of inks do I want to use? So what I'm doing today is I'm creating a layer that I would use on an Easter card. So I'm thinking spring colors, I'm thinking pastels. So I get out my inks and I'm going to choose Balmy Blue. I'm going to choose So Saffron. I'm going to choose Flirty Flamingo, although Blushing Bride would be a great color as well. I'm also going to choose Garden Green. Old Olive would be a good color as well. And then I'm going to choose Highland Heather. So I'm going to go ahead and start blending my inks. Let's start with the Balmy Blue. You can start with any color. This is if you made this would be your design, and so it's very open for options, right? And then I need a blending tool. So I need something that will take the ink to my cardstock with the parameters of the mask. I'm choosing to use my blending brushes, but you definitely could use daubers, you could use sponges, you could use any blending tool that you have. Now I love these blending brushes. They come in packages of 3 in our online store. I have a blending brush for each color family ink. So all the blues, I use a brush only for the blue shades. I use a different brush for the red shades, different brush for the pinks, and so on. You can wash these simply just by running lukewarm to cool water, and then the excess ink will readily come off. I don't wash mine super often unless I feel like I've been doing a lot of blending. I don't feel like I have to because I'm using them all in the same ink family. So if I had to switch up, if maybe you're limited to only 3 blending brushes, you may find that that's something you want to do, because you don't want to use a brush that you used for your red ink with your blue ink, because well, I just wouldn't take that chance. Anyway, so let's go ahead. Now I'm going to get some ink on that brush. I'm going to brush the excess ink off. It also will let me know if I even did get some ink on there, because we can't really feel what's happening on the brush. So I just went back and I brushed it off so I don't get a big glob of ink. Now I just remembered as I was started to blend there that I don't want that blue in these the next row of holes. So I'm going to take my low tack tape. You could use sticky notes, which is normally what I use, but I don't have any handy. So I do have so much of this green tape that I'm wanting to use it up. So I am going to just do that. I'm just going to use it, and I'm going to be careful with it so that I don't stick it down too hard. And here we go. All right, so I'm just going to cover up these holes because I don't want ink. I don't want blue in the next row of holes, space. Okay, and then just blending. And remember, the more ink, the darker the color. And so sometimes I've been surprised because I'll be putting down ink and I'll think, wow, that's kind of dark. And then I remove the mask and I'm pleasantly surprised that it's not as dark maybe as I thought. Also, you could use any colors you want depending on the theme. So if you want spring, use spring colors. If you want Christmas colors, use the traditional Christmas colors. Or fall, use the fall colors. In the comment section below, let me know what your favorite season is. And then I'm just going to, now you're not going, I'm not going to ask you to sit here and watch me color all of this, of these holes to make that designer series paper, but I did want to just show you a couple of rollers here. So again, I'm masking off the holes that I don't want ink in, and I started out with Balmy Blue, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do So Saffron next. So I'll grab my brush that I use for the yellow ink, and just get some ink on here and just go ahead and blend. We also sell the daubers, so if you like to use daubers, those are quite helpful because you can stick your finger in the little dauber and you know, you can blend with that. They work perfectly well. And they come in a package of 5 in my online store. And you do notice that I always wipe my brush afterwards. That's to get excess ink off before I put my brush in the container. And I just store my brushes in a container. It's just a flower pot. But we do have stands for the brushes. They're in the mini catalog if you're interested. Now, I'm only going to do these 2 rows because I think you get the idea. And then I'm going to remove this tape. I will tell you to try and do it gently because sometimes we can't see, and especially because I'm my head's not directly over the stencil, we can't see the ink on the stencil, and when you go to move it, you easily could get some ink on your panel here on your cardstock, and if you got that extra ink in the right places, you could cut it off, but if it's like right smack dab in the middle, you may be disappointed in yourself. So let's go ahead and remove that mask, and now I am going to clean off my mask because again, if you wiped your finger on those parts that don't have holes, you'll find that there would be ink there. So if you forget to do that and then you lay it down or put something on top of it, you're going to pick up that ink. So just clean it off. You can clean it off with your chamois if you're going to be using it again soon, or you could run some warm water over it and clean off that ink. All right, so I just did 2 rows just to show you, but I'll show you the finished product. And so this is what my layer looks like when it's all finished. And so now I have the opportunity to cut it down. Obviously, I'm going to cut it down because it's even too big for a card front, right? So I will cut it down to the size I wanted. This is what I used it for originally for this Easter card. And so this is about 2 3/8 by 3, I believe. And so obviously I would be cutting it down. But maybe I only wanted a strip. Maybe I wanted it to lay on my card, you know, just in a strip, and then put something else over here. So you have a lot of options for that. And here I want to show you some of these layers that I've done that are different colors. So here's a layer using the traditional Christmas colors, and then here's a layer using colors that you might see in the autumn. So I just wanted to share this quickly with you just to offer some ideas and opportunities for you to just create in whatever way you want, whatever kind of card you want, and to help your cards look inventive and bring that personal touch that only you can do to your cards. So again, go ahead and hit that like button if you'd like, and definitely don't forget to consider subscribing to my channel, and then you can head on over to Rita's Paper Motif, where you can pick up tutorials, see other ideas, and definitely shop. Again, thank you for joining me, and you have a great day. Bye now.